There was a certain yeshiva bacher in a story that goes back about 40 years ago that had a certain baseball player that was his hero. It was his victor. It was the person that, it was alma mater. He loved this person. He never missed a game that he played. And one time he decided he was going to buy a box ticket. He's going to pay a pretty penny in order to be able to get as close up to him as he can, in order that after the game he can get his signature, exchange a few words with him. And it was able to work out at the end of the game. When the player was on his way back into the locker room, he was able to stop him, ask him for an autograph, say, "You should know I'm a big fan of yours." The player looked him up and down and he said to him, "I don't give signatures to Jewish boys, I'm sorry." And with that he continued on into his locker room. This boy was broken. He was destroyed. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. His whole entire dream world, everything that his whole entire sheifot, all his drive, suddenly came to an incredible full halt at once. From there he actually made an incredible turnaround. He realized the hevel of Olim, the stupidity of this whole entire baseball game and what he was doing, and from there he made an incredible turnaround and he ended up becoming a Rebbe and moving on in a totally different direction. Al Kopanim, from here I want to try to bring out a question that has always intrigued me, and an incredible phenomenon, something that we are so used to, about something that we're so surrounded by in society, especially for those of us who I'm talking to in America, and that is this incredible idea of chasing after sports head over heels. This has become completely enveloped inside of society. People do it left and right, and it became such a standard of life that people don't even see it as something unusual. If you're in America, what's with a football game, a baseball game, basketball? We live and worship those games. I still remember when I was a young child that we used to always go on Sunday to my grandparents, all the cousins. And the uncles and aunts used to go to my grandparents who had a big TV set, and we used to everybody used to kind of, schmooze a little bit, but of course, sit around and watch all the football games with a lot of screaming and chanting and yelling and et cetera, what goes on in the famous football Sundays that we are familiar with in America. And Baruch Hashem, I'm far away from that. And I always thought it was crazy until I actually moved to the other side of the world over here in Eretz Israel, and I am introduced to different Europeaners, if it's from Spain, France, England, and especially South America. And of course we know by them, it has to do with what we call soccer, what they call football, but I was taken to a different level. If you think that in America they cherish sports, you have never seen what these people do when it comes to football. It's mamash, literally probably close to Avodah Zarah. I can't see much less of it. It's an absolutely incredible thing. Rabbi Victor Miller reported that one time he was walking through the street, and it was right after the Pittsburgh Pirates won the pennant. I assume that it's a very big simcha because it never happens. And he was walking by the street, and suddenly there was a very large, muscular man who was waving his finger, number one, like that, and came up to this nice elderly man that we know as Rabbi Victor Miller. And he started waving his finger to him, number one. So Rabbi Victor Miller, obviously having another story to tell, maybe at his drushes, tried to continue walking. But this person blockaded his way from walking and said he's not letting him move until Rabbi Victor Miller himself, number one, pick up your finger, number one, I want to see it. And he didn't know what to do. Suddenly he realized this could be a question of pikuach nefesh. This is a dangerous situation. I guess I should be picking up my finger. But on the other hand, this is probably avodah zarah. This is probably idolatry. And if it's idolatry, then it's something you have to get killed for. It's one of the 3 cardinal mitzvot that a person has to get killed for. What else is this if it's not avodah zarah? Someone focusing, and this is his own life, to go ahead and do such a thing. And he quickly made a dash for it to try to get away from this person. Is it not? Does it make any sense when you see an intelligent, mature adult? Okay, in this case, maybe that guy wasn't intelligent or mature. Maybe he was an adult. And they're going ahead and chasing after sports as if there's anything that is in it for them. The people who are making the money are the sports teams. They're the ones who are happy when they succeed. They get twice the amount of the salary that they're going to get. And they're the ones who get to carry the trophy. What do the fans get out of this thing that they go so incredibly crazy? Why, when I was in Los Angeles and I saw a Dodger game after they won the World Series, did I go outside and I saw not far from the stadium that there was a car that was turned upside down in simcha and glee and a certain type of incredible euphoria for the sake that they won. No one cares about you. They don't care about you. They don't know the difference. You should know. What do you care to make such a big deal out of it? And on the contrary, what happens if lo aleinu has v'shalom, bar minan, we shouldn't say such things, your team loses the pennant? Oh my gosh, you said Shiva. Maybe Shiva, you said Arbasra. You said 14 days. They said over and over. They're in despair and sadness, depression, melancholy. They're so upset about the whole entire situation. They lost. Who cares? What's the difference? First of all, next year's another year. It has nothing to do with you. You're totally they have tens of thousands of people that are sitting in this competition and who are watching this competition, and you're just a little ant in the little pile. If you're not here tomorrow, they don't make a difference. Why does it matter so much to everybody? And the answer is an incredible yesod, which we have to know. And that is, it's not the ball, and it's not even the sport that is the reason for them chasing this ideal. The answer is, it's the power of the tzibur. It's the power of being part of a bigger body. It's part of being a team out of a group of a corporation, or if I can even say a congregation. When a person has a natural inclination to be part of something that's greater than myself. As an individual, I'm very, very limited in how far I can go and my capabilities, where I can get to. But when you're part of a massive body, when you're part of a thing, of a cult, of a race, of a certain connection of where you're going to, so then suddenly you become incredibly large. Your capabilities become much more expanded. You have a tremendous amount of power, of greatness, of growth that comes as a result of being connected to this body of people, to be able to be in such a scenario. And that's why people are willing to pay literally, in my time, thousands, if I'm not mistaken, these days, tens of thousands of dollars for season tickets, to not miss a game, to make sure you go to all of them, buy season tickets, to make sure you're wearing these funny t-shirts that go ahead and say the name of your sports team, or caps, or all the other jargon that they make you do in order to advertise their team, in order that they can make more money on you. But all of it has to do is because of this idea that you have a natural inclination to go bigger. What's the source of that? So it says the Ramchal in the Dat Tfunat at the beginning of Mesillat Yesharim very clearly that it's because we have a neshama that is connected to Elokam Imal, that is a much higher source. That neshama wants to go out of our body and expand and go to something bigger. It's the one that gives us our drives, our interests, our desires to be able to go ahead and do something that's bigger. And therefore that is what has caused all man in all history, during all of history, to go ahead and do unbelievable things, l'toiv v'lemuta, for good and for bad. Most and probably all wars comes from this nekuda, that people have wanted to expand their land, make themselves bigger, express their strength, to show their greatness by going ahead and causing wars and showing absolute dominance to be able to do that. That is the makor, that is the source for all ideologies, which we are so familiar with, that is surrounded the world in history, have taken hundreds and hundreds and literally millions of lives over these ideologies, which if you would ask the people themselves, they wouldn't even know what it means, the ideology. What is socialism, which the Nazis were so much into? What is Marxism? What exactly is the meaning of communism? We know where it comes from Russia, but what is the definition of that? People died, they shed blood, they were willing to kill themselves over this ideology, which they can barely understand what they're doing it for. They fought for a person named Stalin and Lenin and Marx and all these horrible, horrible people, and they didn't even realize the mistakes and the faults that they were going to, but they're willing to do it in order to chase after these ideologies, what's known as the isms. And if you don't mind me ending with it, the Zionism also. Zionism also, and the amount of energy that was put when people came to this land is incredible. They worked 18 hours a day, digging up swamps, building the kibbutzim, trying to rebuild the land, in incredible Herculean feats, and they never went to Social Security, to the Bituach Leumi, to ask for reprimands, because they had a goal, they had something in mind, they had a dedication, and they were all part of one massive group, something great, something above thou, something that goes beyond. They needed a mishenet, some type of codependency, and that's what all the meaning behind all these ideologies are. It's a point of unity, of power, of strength, and that is where the drive comes from our neshama, and that's where all the chase in an atheistic world such as America, so they go ahead and chase the sports, because that's where they feel that source of power and connection. And that's why it is oh so depressing and oh so sad when you see a Jew who leaves his own religion in order to chase one of these funny ideologies, to go ahead and chase after looking around the world or chasing after sports, and replacing something that's right under their nose. Because the Torah Kedosha, the fact that we are all one Klal Yisrael, we are one Bnei Yisrael, under Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad, who gave us the Torah, that is the power of unity. That is the strength that is that is undefeatable, that you cannot. Everything that we spoke about until now is an age-old concept by the Jews. It is us, the power of us, the power of Klal Yisrael, because we've always had a Torah that has kept us backed up, and that has given us the focus to have one motive, one matarah, to be a light unto the nations. We had one goal, to be the expression of a Kadosh Baruch Hu in this world, the idea of unity of a God, of one Hashem that is there. Hashem is our team. He's our team leader. He's our captain. And that's what's always kept us together. And it's such a chava when people run away from this religion and start looking for some gurus in India, or some sports team in America, or some type of other, in Japan, trying to be able to find out some type of a Zara over there that they can find as a solution to this type of need that your neshama has, to be able to go over and beyond, to do more, to extract yourself from where it is. And that's why a person should realize this incredible koach, and it's incredibly connected to Parshat Achrei Mot, because over there in the Kohen Gadol, as we know, would go ahead and be mechaper with a par on himself. He would bring another par for his family. He would bring another korban, a sacrifice for his family. And third, he would bring the Sir Le'Azazel, which would be mechaper, which would be, and do vidui on it. He would do confession on it. And that would be the atonement for all of Klal Yisrael. Asks Rav Nebenzahl an obvious and pashut and kasha that should bother us. How in heaven's name is the Kohen Gadol allowed to do tshuva for me? I understand he can make a bracha for me and I'll answer and say amen, etc. But vidui is confession. I'm sorry, I did something wrong. You say vidui. I can't say do tshuva for you. That's such a great cop-out. On Yom Kippur, I'll just ask someone, can you do me a favor and get to shul there? I just can't handle the long hours. Can you do it for me? I'll flip you a bill after Yom Kippur and just do the tshuva for me. What? You can't do that. The tshuva has to be very individualized, as the Zohar Kodesh writes. Has to come from you. How is the Kohen Gadol, in all his greatness as he was, especially Arna Kohen over here in the Parsha, able to go ahead and be mechaper, give a atonement for the whole entire nation? Where does that come from? So he says a very important yesod, which is reiterated in Rav Shimon Shkup in his introduction to Shari Yosher, and that is because the Kohen Gadol was not an individual. His individuality encompassed, as you understand, his family, but all of Klal Yisrael. He encompassed all of Klal Yisrael. So when he did an atonement, when he did vidu, Hashamnu Bagadnu, like we say it in plural, he was doing it for everyone. He felt all of Klal Yisrael underneath his fingernails. It was part of him. He was part of a bigger whole of a body. He was greater than himself, because he is the Kohen Hagadol. And who's greater than Arna Kohen, the Rod of Shalom and Ohev Shalom, the man of peace, who gave it over to his lineage of Kohanim Gedolim, that were the ones that loved Klal Yisrael. That's why Chofetz Chaim was always referred to as the Kohen Gadol. He was a Kohen, and we knew that if the Beit HaMikdash would be here, he would have been the man who loved Klal Yisrael. Everything was for Klal Yisrael. It's in the Kishkas, it's in the DNA of the Kohen Gadol. Go ahead and care for Klal Yisrael. That's what they say in the bracha. That's what they say in the bracha. When they make the bracha for Klal Yisrael, that they say Levarach et Amo Yisrael be'ava, with love. If they don't love Klal Yisrael, if you don't love, don't get on that stage. Don't go in the front and give a birkat kohanim. We don't want to hear it. It's be'akiv. It's a problem because the yesod of the kohen is one who is connected to all of Klal Yisrael. He can do vidui for all of Klal Yisrael. He goes ahead and he's an ish tzibur. He's one of the public. Chas v'shalom, not the politicians who only care about me, myself, and I. They could care about anyone else. They keilu represent. They're presenting us, but in our true Judaism, where we come from, the Kohen Gadol is incredible. He encompasses all of Klal Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu comes and he's worried that Aaron Kohen is going to be jealous. No way. I love Klal Yisrael. I want them out of here. Anybody that does it, I'm after them. I'll do anything. I'll kiss your shoes. Just get Klal Yisrael out of it. I don't need the kavod. I don't need the attention. I just want to be the one who's able to accompany them when they go out. And he was so happy to see Moshe Rabbeinu to bring the Geula. And that's why Aaron Cohen reach this darga that no, we don't need sports, we don't need ideologies, we don't need any of what the outside world is searching and yearning for, to be able to find this incredible koach, to be able to connect to something greater than thou, because we are greater than thou. Klal Yisrael is bigger than the individual. We are one part of one body that is a tremendous koach, and that's the idea behind loving one another. That's the beautiful compassion that we have. You know, like there's color war up in the camps, and they have, all of a sudden, when people are all on the same team, I'm on the blue team or the red team, suddenly they're hugging each other, working together, scheming up together, doing everything together, because we know all of one goal and we have one matara, one focus, and that puts us hand in hand together. When a person believes, understands, and replicates everything that we're speaking about today, there's no room for hating Klal Yisrael. How can you hate another individual? We are all part of that same team. We're on the same team. I don't need to watch teams. I am on the team itself, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's team, and that's what gives us our tremendous achdut. I'll end with the famous Ma'aseh that happened in 1913. When we all know there was a person named Menachem Mendel Beilis. He grew up actually religious, but he ended up not being religious. And when he grew up in Russian, he was a Russian Jew that was accused of killing a child. There was a child that was killed ruthlessly and held and found in a cave somewhere in some corner. And of course, immediately they put the finger on Menachem Beilis. Why? Because he was a Jew. Came along the Christians, unbelievably, this is literally 100 years ago, and still they came along and accused them. Why did they kill this child? Because they wanted their blood for Passover. The whole entire trial for a month and a half was almost a lot of Torah going back and forth. The Christians saying how in history the Jews have always hated everybody except for themselves, and they take the bloods of other people in order to eat it on Passover, etc., etc. And you had rabbis there who were helping out and backing up and proving methodically how blood is usher to be eaten. And I don't have to get into all the details, but it was an incredible, famous trial that happened and showed that even in Ki'ilu, a modern day and age, these types of things can still occur. And he became a very famous person, this Mendel Beilis. One accusation that was thrown out there is one of the Christian priests over there mentioned, and they said, don't you guys have a statement, and it is a Gemara in Yevamos, Atem Kruyim Adam, it's coming soon by Lag Ba'omer. This is Rav Shimon Bar Yochai that said this. Adam Nes Avurecha. We say it in the song. Atem Kruyim Adam, you're called an Adam. Atem Kruyim Adam, you're called an Adam. Vehem Lo Kruyim Adam, and they're not called Adam. So you see, you think that you're the only ones that are people, and we're not people. And the rabbi responded incredibly. He said that when a person is going on trial by the Christians, by the Goyim, we know that he's on his own. Nobody else cares. Nobody's overlooking. They might watch it to be interested in what happened on the news. Oh, wow, look, he's hanging up on a tree there. Whoa, I guess he didn't make it. And that's it. But we all know when this Mr. Beilis, Menachem Beilis over here, is standing up on trial, every Jew's eyes are peered toward this trial. Everyone's trying to find out on the news and looking for their papers to see what's happening. asking, how's it going? And they're all sending letters and trying to back him up, because all of Klal Yisrael are one echad. We're Adam echad, and that's why Atem Kriyim Adam. We are called Adam because we are one body made of different facets. Some people are arms, some people are legs, some people hold us up. Some people are the head, the brains behind the Talmidei Chachamim. Some people are the arms, the ones that stretch out and do kiruv, who connect us and are able to do it. We all have different facets to this incredible one big body, which is known as Klal Yisrael. Atem Kriyim Adam, vehem lo kriyim Adam. Appreciate it. Don't go looking outside of us, because everything is within us, part of our congregations, part of our being of Bnei Israel. We are all there, and it's all focused because we are all part of this one connection that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai taught us, that Atem Kriyim Adam, and we should always have this capabilities to love our fellow Jew and Chas v'Shalom never see sin in their eyes, because that is what's happening during this time of Sfirah Omer, that it all happened only because during this very sensitive time that we have to realize that we're one Bnei Adam, and therefore to appreciate everyone for his each individual talents. Shabbat Shalom.